Be prepared. They told you it was a gift, but they never mentioned the cost. And now, everything you went through is coming back. As Mercury turns backward, it doesn't just rewind time. It reopens memories, not to punish you, but to remind you of what it cost you to become who you are. You've spent your life walking against the grain. You left comfort. You walked away from distractions. You refused to become what the world tried to mold you into. This retrograde pulls up the silence, the betrayals, the nights you cried alone. It brings back the faces, the choices, the sacrifices, the people who never came with you. You may already feel it creeping in, and that's because the official retrograde is beginning soon. For the chosen ones, the effects always start early. Your spirit hears the shift before the world sees it. And no, it's not because you're slipping. It's because you're being shown. You didn't imagine it. You lived through it. You paid in full. This is not regression, it's reflection. You're not going backwards. You're being reminded of why you'll never go back. And if your words start getting misunderstood or your voice suddenly feels invisible, keep watching. Because there's one specific reason Mercury is targeting your message, and I'll reveal it later on. Stay with me. But before we go there, there's something else. A feeling most chosen ones are having right now. A deep, unspoken question. Why am I doing everything right and still suffering? You've aligned your intentions. You've followed the signs. You've let go of people who no longer fit your path. So why does it still feel like you're being punished? This is Mercury Retrograde. It shines a light where no one is looking. For the chosen ones, that means pain that doesn't show up in selfies. That means progress that doesn't come with a reward. That means carrying things no one knows you're carrying. If you relate to this, feel free to comment what you resonate with the most. You can even leave 313s along with it if you're choosing to stay grounded through the chaos. But the truth is, you're not out of alignment. You're just being asked to walk ahead of applause, because that's what leaders do. They move through fog before it clears for everyone else. You're not going backwards, you're walking forward while the world reverses. And that's why you feel off, because your energy is not in sync with the collective. It's beyond it. The applause you're waiting for isn't coming, and that's not a bad thing. This retrograde hits in subtle, soul-shifting ways. And one of the deepest cuts? Feeling invisible in the very rooms you hold together. You might walk into chaos and calm it, only to be told you're too much. You might be the one everyone leans on, and somehow still the one left out. You transmute heavy energy, absorb emotion, clear the space, and no one even notices you did it. But here's the truth. Silence doesn't mean you're unseen. It means you're operating on a level most can't recognize. This is the cost of being chosen. You're built to stabilize what others can't. But that kind of power, it rarely gets applause. Because most people only notice light after the dark is gone. So if you've been wondering why no one says thank you, it's because they don't even realize you saved the room. And still, you keep showing up. You still hold the boundary, carry the weight, offer the clarity. You've walked through the fire and didn't make a scene. You've cried behind closed doors just to return with a smile that healed someone else's panic. You've watched others rise with your guidance and still felt alone at the top. Not everyone can walk through fire and not scream. You did. Not everyone can be a mirror, a light, and a warrior all in silence. You are. This retrograde is your mirror. It's showing you the spaces where your energy is still being spent without return. It's your cue to pause, Not to give up, but to pour back into yourself, because you won't always be celebrated. If your message is being distorted, it means it carries weight. Here's what no one tells you about Mercury retrograde. It doesn't just mess with technology or travel plans, it messes with truth. Specifically, your truth. Chosen ones often find their words misunderstood during this time. Conversations go sideways, intentions get twisted. You say something with clarity, and somehow it gets received with confusion, judgment, or silence. It's more than frustrating, it's destabilizing, because your voice isn't just how you speak, it's how you lead. And when your voice gets blocked, you start questioning everything. Should I say less? Should I shrink? Should I wait to speak until it's safer? But Mercury retrograde isn't here to silence you. It's here to make you stronger without external validation. It's asking, can you still stand in truth, even when the echo doesn't come back? Being unheard doesn't mean you're wrong. It means your voice is ahead of its time. This is refinement, not punishment. It's where your message sheds what's performative and becomes undeniable. You're not meant to be palatable, you're meant to be precise. So if people don't get you right now, let them misunderstand. Keep speaking, keep expressing, keep claiming your space. Because retrograde doesn't erase your voice. It exposes who was never really listening. Comfort isn't part of your path. Clarity is, even when it hurts. This Mercury retrograde isn't breaking your life. It's just exposing the parts that were already cracking under the weight of pretense. The friendships that depended on you being smaller. The job that never aligned with your soul. The plans you made out of survival instead of vision. Now they're falling apart, and it's not random. It's overdue. Mercury doesn't destroy what's real. It just removes what was pretending to be. For the chosen ones, this retrograde won't feel like a minor inconvenience. Because while everyone else is reviewing old projects and delaying decisions, you're being forced to confront what no longer fits, not just in your calendar, but in your entire identity. You might feel like the walls are closing in. You might look around and realize you don't relate to anyone. And that ache, that deep, gnawing restlessness, it's not a flaw, it's a signal. It's your body telling you, this isn't where we're meant to settle. Being chosen means walking paths that aren't paved yet. So when the old path disappears, when the comfort collapses, when you're standing alone in a space that once felt like home, that's not failure. That's the sign that you're growing beyond what this world was built to offer you. Chosen ones don't belong, they lead. And leadership rarely feels like home. So if you feel like you're out of place right now, good. It means you're in motion. It means the illusion is breaking. It means the universe is finally catching up to the version of you that's been evolving in silence for months. Let it fall apart. Let the wrong people misunderstand. Let the familiar feel foreign. That's how you know you're being prepared to step into something real. But while your outer world is rearranging, something deeper is happening inside too. And chances are, you're already feeling it, even if no one else around you is saying it out loud. If you're feeling everything right now, it's because you're wired to feel what others can't handle. Let's make this clear. Mercury retrograde isn't just a communication shift. It's an emotional filter collapse. All the things people usually suppress, pain, jealousy, fear, confusion, they start leaking out into the collective field. And if you're a chosen one, you're not just sensing it, you're holding it. You might wake up anxious for no reason. Suddenly get hit with a wave of sadness in the middle of a conversation, snap at something minor, then feel shame right after. It's not because you're unstable. It's because you're absorbing what others are discharging. Emotional chaos doesn't mean you're broken. It means you're open. And being open isn't weakness. It's a responsibility. You're the one who feels what no one else is willing to acknowledge. You walk into a room and know immediately who's lying, who's grieving, who's spiritually hollow before they even speak. You cry and can't explain it. You get angry and don't know why, because you're not just reacting to your own pain. You're filtering ancestral grief, energetic residue, and karmic noise all at once. Most people run from energy. You carry it, you translate it, you transmute it. And yes, it's exhausting. Yes, it's isolating. But it's also what makes you you. This retrograde is dialing that sensitivity all the way up, not to punish you, but to make sure you're paying attention to what you've been carrying in silence. The world won't always validate your depth, but that doesn't make it any less real. So no, you're not moody. You're not unstable. You're just finally feeling everything that's been left unspoken, and you're strong enough to face it. But that much energy doesn't move through you without side effects. So if your body's been acting strange, if you've been dizzy, feeling out of sync, or like your brain's short-circuiting, you're not imagining it. The silence you feel isn't absence, it's sacred observation. This retrograde isn't loud. It's not going to shout at you. It won't light up your intuition like a neon sign or hand you answers on a silver plate. Instead, it gets quiet, painfully, unsettlingly quiet. And that silence, that stillness, it's the part that will make you second-guess everything. You'll open your phone and no one texts back. You'll ask for a sign and see nothing but static. You'll try to journal, to meditate, to get that spiritual clarity, and be met with fog. And that's when the doubts creep in. Am I being punished? Am I out of alignment? Am I actually alone in this? No, you're not. But you are being watched, not in the paranoid sense, but in the cosmic, deeply intentional one. Because the universe already saw what you do when everything is flowing. Now it wants to see what you do when there's nothing to grab onto. This is the part of the journey no one claps for, no one teaches, no one posts about. This is the space between, the space where your soul either sinks into fear or chooses to remember. Silence is not rejection, it's the weight of your own readiness echoing back. The old you needed validation, needed omens, needed the constant whisper of your guides to feel safe. But now you're being asked to walk into the dark without flinching, to choose your alignment without a guarantee, to trust your mission even when it doesn't come with applause, direction, or divine reassurance. And yes, it's uncomfortable. Yes, it makes you want to scream into the void just to hear something echo back. But there's a reason for this pause, because when the universe goes silent, it's not because it's ignoring you. It's because it's testing what you do when it stops holding your hand. Chosen ones don't just pass tests, they become the answer. And right now, someone, somewhere, is watching how you carry this moment. How you show up when no one's watching, how you honor your truth without being told you're right. That's not abandonment, that's trust. That's the universe stepping back. So you can step up, but the hardest part? You're still showing up, and you're not even sure it's working. Let's talk about that next. You're not stuck. You're being calibrated for what your ego can't yet see. If you're a chosen one, you've probably noticed something strange lately. You've been doing the work, saying no when it's hard, choosing growth over comfort. healing generational cycles that no one else even sees. And yet, your life still looks like a loading screen. No breakthroughs, no doors flying open, just this endless pause. And it makes no sense. Because in the human world, we're trained to believe that effort equals sign reward. But spiritual evolution doesn't work like that, especially not during Mercury Retrograde. Real growth doesn't always announce itself with fireworks. Sometimes it arrives in stillness, because movement would ruin it. Right now, you're not being punished, you're being preserved. Because what you've built internally, that wisdom, that resilience, that sacred power, it's too important to be diluted by surface-level validation. The universe doesn't want you clinging to crumbs just because they showed up quickly. It wants you aligned with the kind of outcomes that don't need your desperation to exist. So if nothing's landing right now, if the opportunities are dry, if the recognition is missing, if your manifestations seem to have ghosted you, breathe. You're not being ignored. You're being slowed down because something real is forming, and real takes time. Real needs silence. Real needs patience. Real doesn't knock while you're distracted looking for temporary wins. This retrograde is pressing pause not to derail you, but to protect you from false alignment. You're not here for quick success. You're here for divine timing. And let's be honest, you've already come too far to start settling now. You've said no to old patterns. You've lost people who couldn't see your vision. You've walked through fires that most people will never understand. So if the outside world feels stuck, just know, your inner world is not. It's rearranging, refining, removing all the noise so you finally hear your own power clearly. Not everyone breaks down during chaos. Some become the calm. That's you. This retrograde isn't going to be subtle. It's already cracking open pressure points in people, emotionally, mentally, even spiritually. You're going to see it. People will snap for no reason, distance themselves, project things that aren't yours. Moods will swing like pendulums, logic will vanish, and sensitivity will hit the ceiling. And in the middle of that storm is you, still grounded, still aware, still holding the line. The thing they don't tell you about being the strong one, the grounded one, is that your stability becomes invisible. When you don't scream, no one checks if you're hurting. When you don't collapse, no one asks if you're tired, because people assume the one who isn't reacting must be fine. But you're not just fine. You're absorbing, watching, processing, transmuting. You're the anchor people lean on without realizing they're leaning. You're the one who can feel the energetic shifts in the room before a single word is spoken. And yes, it's exhausting. Yes, it's lonely. Because while everyone else is reacting, you're responding. While others lash out, you internalize, filter, alchemize. You hold the unspoken. The grief people don't name. The chaos they can't clean up. You become the emotional filtration system of your environment, but no one sees the weight it costs you. Being chosen doesn't mean you shine in the spotlight. It means you hold the light when no one else can. That's what this retrograde is pushing on. Your ability to remain solid when the atmosphere is cracked. Your ability to stay rooted in truth while others spiral in delusion. And the truth is, that's not weakness, it's mastery. Most people are reactive, but you're intentional, even if it means you cry in private, even if it means no one ever thanks you, even if it means sitting in your car or your room, shaking from the weight of energy you didn't even create, but somehow became responsible for anyway. You don't collapse, because you were built to hold. And the wildest part? They won't notice your strength until the retrograde is over. Until the storm passes and they look back and realize you never wavered, you never ran, you stood. Chosen ones don't just survive chaos, they stabilize it. And that role comes at a cost, especially when the emotions start boiling over and nothing makes logical sense anymore. In a world that rewards detachment, feeling deeply is a superpower. This retrograde isn't just messing with schedules and communication, it's piercing straight through emotional armor. You'll feel it in waves, moments of random grief, flashes of regret from years ago, an ache in your chest for something you can't name, and it'll be tempting to ask, "What's wrong with me?" But nothing is wrong. In fact, the very fact that you're feeling is proof that something is deeply right. Most people have shut down. They scroll, numb. They laugh to avoid thinking. They chase stimulation so they don't have to sit with the weight of what's real. But you're still capable of feeling the burn. And yes, it hurts. But that ache is your compass. That ache is your soul, confirming that you haven't turned to stone. You're not broken for feeling pain. You're brave for letting it move through you. This retrograde is like a spiritual MRI. It lights up everything you haven't fully released. It doesn't do this to shame you. It does it to free you. Because if you don't feel it, you can't move it. So if the tears come randomly, let them. If you feel heavy without explanation, don't rush to escape it. This is emotional debris surfacing because your system is finally strong enough to face it, not just carry it. And don't underestimate what it means to feel this much right now. To care, to cry, to rage in a world where apathy is the norm is an act of rebellion. You are choosing to stay connected to the pulse of your humanity. Pain isn't weakness, pain is data, and you're brave enough to listen. You didn't come here to float above reality. You came to feel it, transmute it, and still remain intact. And in case no one told you lately, that's extraordinary. The world sees the glow, but not the graves you had to bury to reach it. Mercury Retrograde has this way of digging up the past. Not just events, but feelings. And not just yours, but the collective weight of every moment you were overlooked, dismissed, or completely misunderstood. This season, it might feel like no matter how far you've come, no one around you truly sees it. Or you. But here's the truth. They were never meant to understand, because they didn't live it. They didn't hear the silence when you begged the universe for a sign and got none. They didn't feel the cold of sleeping next to people who never really knew your soul. They weren't there when your entire identity shattered, when the things you clung to for safety dissolved in front of your eyes. They didn't witness you claw your way back from emotional rock bottom with nothing but intuition and scraps of hope. So no, they don't get it. And honestly, they shouldn't, because your path wasn't designed to be relatable. It was designed to be radical, and that's what Mercury Retrograde reveals. Not just miscommunications or delays, but how isolated the path of a chosen one really is. It'll remind you that even now, people still don't get why you had to leave what you left, why you moved in silence, why you changed when no one asked you to. They'll call it overreacting. They'll say you're distant, cold, dramatic, because they didn't watch you dismantle a version of yourself just to survive. They didn't witness the rebirth, the sacrifice, the surrender. Let them misunderstand your journey. It was never built to match theirs. And it's not your job to explain. You didn't rise for applause. You didn't heal to prove a point. You did it to finally live in alignment with your truth. even when that truth cost you relationships, opportunities, and your old identity. If you're still watching, I'd like to thank you for your attention. If you enjoyed the content and want to see more, please consider clicking the subscribe button. Your support is very appreciated. Feel free to share your experiences or thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, take care and subscribe for more insightful content.